Evening peeps, good evening everyone. How are we all doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, let's get straight to it. Let's talk about this Tyson Fury Dereck Chisora pay-per-view price, which was revealed today to be £26.95. And I think it's fair to say you lot ain't happy. I've seen the reactions. Who put it up first? I think Michael Benson put it up first. And just reading some of the responses to that tweet, Jesus, no one's happy. There is an element of, I don't know if it's BT Sport, Queensbury, 258 management, Tyson Fury's management, but there must be an element of let's read the room. Let's read the room. I don't know who decides the price point, by the way. I'm guessing it's a mix of Queensbury and BT Sport. I don't know if it's just BT that say it or that Queensbury get involved and say maybe we should edge it up a little bit. I don't know. But again, there is an element of read the room. Now look, no one likes pay-per-view. No one wants to pay what they pay above their subscription, right? If you already pay for a BT Sports subscription or a DAZN subscription or a Sky, the last thing you want to do is have to pay a bit more. No one wants to do that. But if a fight is worthy, and the fans will determine whether it's worthy or not, fight fans don't mind paying. Don't get me wrong, they still don't want to, but if a fight is worthy, they're like, you know what, it was always going to be pay-per-view, we don't mind. I'll give you an example. Like, no one's going to mind Spence Crawford being on pay-per-view, right? You expect it to be, and you're going to pay. No one's going to mind AJ Fury Usyk, Ryan Garcia Javante, even to an extent, the fight that didn't happen, Conor Ben, Chris Eubank, right? No one's going to mind paying for those because you're excited, right? You're ready, you can't wait. You can already see it on Twitter when those type of fights get announced, that they trend. Everyone's like, oh my God, I can't wait for this. So when they do announce it, you're not that pissed off. Like Eubank Jr., Conor Ben's a good one. Like when DAZN announced it, I was like, remember it was DAZN's first pay-per-view event in the UK with Matchroom. So I thought this ain't going to go down well. No one said anything. No one said anything. It was almost like, take my money. The issue with Fury Chisora, well, there's so many issues. Number one, it's a fight that no one's really asking for. No one asked for Fury Chisora. So no one's really excited by it, right? And we're going to talk about the ticket sales because I think that seems to be a bit misleading as well. I think I've done a video talking about it nearly selling out. Well, I don't think that's the case. But look, no one asked for Fury Chisora. So if no one asked for it, the last thing you then want to happen if you didn't ask for it, and you're going to watch it because you're a boxing fan, you're going to watch it. So there's some people will say, okay, don't watch it then. Well, no, I'm a boxing fan, so you're going to watch it. So no one asked for Fury Chisora. So then when it goes on pay-per-view, you're like, one second, I didn't even bloody ask for this. Now you're telling me I've got to pay for it. And then you're saying, okay, I've got to pay the top dollar. Remember over here, $26.95 is the biggest. That's the highest fee. In America, we know it can go crazy, $100. But over here, $26.95 is the limit. That's the top, which basically means that fight is incredible. It's insane. We're going to go a bit more. Read the room. Read the room. This is basic economics, isn't it? Supply and demand, right? I mean, no one's demanding this, and all of a sudden you've gone higher. I don't see how that quite works. Maybe there's an element of the fights cost so much to put together, and this again is a problem with boxing, that they feel they have to put it on pay-per-view and they have to go that high to make sure they can recoup and everyone gets paid and everyone goes home happy. I don't know. But surely there's an argument, again, with a fight that no one, like if Fury Chisora was made and everyone was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this, then you as a promoter, as a broadcaster, maybe you take the piss a bit. Maybe you say, oh, fuck it, well, let's chuck it on. Like, for example, if Fury AJ gets made, or even Fury Usyk, and again, I'm not saying this is wrong or right, but if it was £35, like if Fury AJ was £35, people would be livid, people will buy. Because the demand for it would be through the roof, right? Even if Fury Usyk was made and it was $30, people would buy. The problem with Fury Chisora is, again, no one asked for it. It's not a fight that people are like clamoring for. So you can't go to the highest pay-per-view price this country's ever seen. You can't do that. You just can't. Honestly, you can't do it. If they were smart, and again, the smarter people behind the scenes with BT and Queensbury than me, that's a fact. But if people are smart, surely you're like, all right, look, they're not going to be happy it's pay-per-view. Maybe we surprise them a little bit with the pay-per-view price. Maybe we chuck it on at 15 quid. And look, again, people won't be happy. I'm telling you now, look, people just aren't happy with pay-per-view regardless, even if it was a fiver. But you chuck it on at 15 quid, and I think you make the difference back. I think people that are kind of like, I'm going to stream this, I'm going to find a pub, 15 quid, fuck it. 26.95, you're taking the piss a little bit. You are taking the piss a bit. And look, I've got to be fair. I mean, DAZN, I think, take the piss with some of their pay-per-view. Like when DAZN put, was it Canelo? I can't remember what it was. I was thinking, oh, that's a lot, you know. Like people might not want to buy it. So everyone has got a problem when it comes to price and pay-per-view. But again, with the Canelo, especially I think the most recent one, Canelo Golovkin, there's that story there. People are going to buy into that. So they're going to buy it, right? Canelo Bivol, you're going to buy it because it's Canelo. He's a pay-per-view monster. Fury Chisora, like we don't even know. I don't even know if Fury is a big pay-per-view draw. I know like his second fight with Wilder that done really good numbers. I don't know if the Fury versus White done good numbers. I mean, no one's revealed or is there? Let me quickly check actually before I say that. Has there been? I don't think there has been because we would have heard it, right? We would have been told. They would have been shouting from the rooftops. Let's see. No, nothing. Don't see it. I see some stuff here. Tyson Fury versus White pay-per-view buys flopped, but yeah, people would say that. I don't know what the number was. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. What was the price of that pay-per-view? That's I guess the interesting one. What's the price? $24.95. Dillian White was $24.95. This has gone up a couple of quid, $26.95. I wonder why they feel that this is worthy of being more. Like, why is this look, it's only a couple of quid, but every penny counts. Why do they think this is worthy of being more? I don't know. But look, this isn't going to go down well, is it? And back to the ticket thing I was referring to, because I did a video on this maybe a month ago when the fight was first announced. I was like, my God, it's sold 50,000 already. And everyone was like, it's not. Basically, it's just these are resellers that have bought the tickets and now they're trying to desperately sell them. So I think it won't do incredible numbers either at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And look, this clamour to fight in a stadium, I don't know why people do it. I still think if you can do the O2 Arena or the MEN Arena or what's now called the AO Arena, do that instead. This want to fight in a stadium, I mean, it's got to be a stadium fight to do a stadium. Or you've got to be just someone that can do that, right? You've got to be someone that can do stadiums. If you're not, the want to go to stadiums when it's not a stadium fight, I don't understand it. Like Fury Chisora isn't a stadium fight, is it? It's not really. But look, I do think, all that being said, I do actually think it's going to be a fun fight for a few rounds. We know that Fury's obviously a lot better than Chisora, but Chisora will bring it. Fury now, as opposed to the Fury of yesteryear that, you know, would outbox you and run around the ring, and he now actually stands in the middle and trades. We've seen it. Maybe that's the case of his feet slowing down as he gets a bit older. I don't know what it is, but he's, you know, he's shown to be able to and want to be able to stand in the pocket and trade. And I mean, if you're Chisora, that's what you want, right? You want a guy that's going to stand there, because if Fury gets on his bike, and when I say get on his bike, I certainly don't mean run away from Chisora. He's not going to do that. But if Fury starts to circle Chisora and feint, and well, it's just going to be a dull fight. But if Fury decides, fuck it, let's have it, then it will be fun for a few rounds. Ultimately, you know, I'm not Einstein here in saying that I think Fury will knock Chisora out if that plays out like that. But I think it's going to be a fun fight for a few rounds. But I do think they've made a few mistakes here. But the pay-per-view price is probably the biggest one. I mean, again, $26.95 for something that wasn't demanded by the fans is a problem. Again, fight fans, we don't want to pay pay-per-view. It's just how it is. We don't, because we pay subscriptions. But if the fight is worthy, if it's a big one, and they're probably only, I don't know, a handful of fights that we feel are worthy, we will pay. And it will be reflected on the pay-per-view buys. This is how it is. I remember when they put on, this is in America, Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz was on pay-per-view, flop. Keith Thurman, Barrios on pay-per-view, flop. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. But again, maybe it's a case of the fighters demand so much money, the only way that they feel that they can pay these fighters is if they chuck it on pay-per-view, and in this case, even increase it by a couple of quid as opposed to what it was last time round. For me, it doesn't work, but it is what it is. What I will be doing, I was going to go to it. Still and ahhing about it. If I don't go, and I feel like I'm more on the side of not going, we are definitely going to do a live watch along. We're definitely going to do a live watch along with it. Not of the whole card. There isn't much on the card I want to see. I don't mind watching Dubois at Kevin Arena. But yeah, we'll definitely do a live watch along. And we haven't done one of those for I do not know how long. Should we quickly have quickly have a look and see what there is else out there? Gallagher, confident Jonas would aim to stop Katie Taylor in a rematch. That fight's not going to happen. Jonas now obviously fighting at 154. I don't think she can get down to 135. Again, I think she wants the Clarissa Shields fight. That's what she wants, right? Shields thinks she can get down to 154. We'll see. Clarissa did put out a poll on her own Twitter page, and the top name was Tasha Jonas, although I do think Eddie Hearn is speaking with Joe Gallagher about making Terry Harper Tasha. Obviously, they're now at the same weight class, and when they fought last time, it was a draw, a controversial draw. I thought Tasha won, so yeah. Ryan Garcia isn't expecting a close fight against Gervonta Davis. I'm going to whoop him bad. You are wrong. It's going to be a close fight. It's going to be a really good fight. Again, back to it. That's a fight you don't mind paying pay-per-view for. Now, it'll be very interesting to see the price of that. I think that's going to be touching the $100 mark. The pay-per-view prices in America just blow my mind. When I hear that, it just blows my mind. Again, we're upset about, we get upset about 1995 over here. They go crazy with their prices. Dimitri Bivol says Canelo is more powerful and punches more harder than Ramirez. Yeah, Ramirez, for all his size, he came into the ring, by the way, 200 pounds plus, weighed in 175, rehydrated to over 200 pounds. Didn't seem to hurt Bivol at any stage. If anyone was hurting anyone, it was Bivol that was teeing off and hurting him. There must be something about this cutting weight to kind of slim yourself or squeeze yourself in the division and then ballooning up. There is something about fighting around your walking weight. Like Bivol, I'd love to know what he walks around at. Bivol does not look like a big guy, but clearly looks like he's got a fantastic engine, looks like he's got a great chin, looks like he carries decent power. And that could be just because he's special, but I think it's because he fights in and around his weight class. He doesn't dehydrate his body of all its nutrients 24 hours before a fight and expect to then somehow be Superman on the night. Doesn't make sense to me. Dillian White looking to leave the judges out of it as Jermaine Franklin showdown nears. I've not watched the face-off that. I might have to watch it tonight. Bear in mind, I am presenting the fight. Crawford here blames business of boxing for spoiling Spence bout. Don't know what to say. Move on. Joe Joyce, impressed by Francis Ngannou's power, would love to fight him. I think Ngannou, I could be wrong here, I think he's only got one fight left on his UFC contract, so he might be looking at about jumping into this this space. You know who looked frightening the other day? Greg Hardy. Now, I know he only fought Hasim Rahman Jr. and Hasim Rahman was 100 pounds lighter. But I was watching Greg Hardy, who was probably one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen, at 325 pounds at like 6'6" or something. But he had decent hands. Like he had really good hands for someone that I think has only ever boxed once before. I think he had a bare knuckle fight prior to this, before that obviously in the UFC, before that an American football star. Decent hands. I think he could, I don't want to be careful what I say here. I don't think he can be in one in the top 10 or 15, but I think he can be a problem for a few people. Like, he was way better than I thought he was. But I will say this though, they made the fight in a 16-foot ring. He was able to close the distance and just land some punches. And that man has got fucking dynamite in his hands. He hurt Hasim. As soon as he landed, Hasim was hurt. Yeah. All right. Crawford shreds Spence's resume. You're not the head honcho. I like Terence Crawford, but I'm sorry. This is what he's getting this wrong. And I think Terence has a lot of fans, including myself, but the fans have to be honest here and brutally honest. I mean, Spence's resume is better than Crawford's. Crawford's got some underrated wins on the resume. Like even coming over here years ago and beating Ricky Burns away, that was good. But like, nah, man. Spence, like the Kell Brook one's a very good one. And people are going to say, oh, yeah, you know, it's after he lost to Golovkin. Still done that away. Done it in Sheffield. Kell Brook's backyard. I mean, nah. Danny Garcia win was a good one. Sean Porter win was a good one. Ugas recently was a good one. Got some good wins on that resume. Good wins. Anything else? Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman. Title fight approved by the WBA. Looks like that will be his final fight at 147. He's been speaking about going to 154 pounds. Good final fight. Again, it adds to the resume. Whether or not you say, whatever you say about Keith, Keith's a former sort of unified welterweight champion. That's a good fight for Errol. Errol will bust up Keith. Sorry, but he will. Like, well done to Keith. I mean, Keith's going in there, but this is a fight that should have happened years ago. 5 years ago, maybe. It's happening now when Keith's chances are less than they were 5 years ago. All right, I think that's it. We're done. Yeah, very quick video. Peace and love.